What's up guys, Think My Shed here. This is my spoiler review for Star Wars The Force Awakens. I was going to do a normal review with a spoiler free one, but there's not a lot you can talk about in this movie without actually giving away plot twists and stuff like that. So if you don't want to have the film spoiled for you, click off now, put this video on your favourites and watch it when you've seen it. But it's a great, so that's the official warning. If you stick around now, you know you've been warned. Blah blah blah. So I enjoyed the movie. I've seen it twice now. Really enjoyed it. In fact, there are a few things that I didn't like, and I'll get into that in a second. We can already talk for 15 minutes because I'm recording on PlayStation 4. But I really loved the characters. The main character, Rey, who's played by Daisy Ridley, absolutely loved her. I think she's absolutely amazing. I loved the setting. I loved the story. I loved BB-8, the droid. I loved Han Solo, seeing everyone back again. Princess Leia, Luke Skywalker. Even though Luke Skywalker's only in it for like 5 minutes at the end, and he doesn't even say anything. It was still nice to see Mark Hamill on screen as an older Luke Skywalker. Han Solo. Well, I think Daisy Ridley, the girl who plays Rey, she stole the show really. But Han Solo, Harrison Ford did a really good job playing Han Solo. And he gets killed in this movie by his son, Kylo Ren, who is the villain in the movie, one of the villains in the movie. So yeah, he gets stabbed through the chest with the lightsaber by his son. That was quite moving. That was quite, you know, I was kind of expecting Han Solo to die because Harrison Ford he's been wanting to die since like Empire Strikes Back. So if Harrison Ford has finally got his wish, there's no way he's coming back. If they do bring him back, it'll be completely shit. The way he died and the way he fell through into this massive like pit of energy. Kylo Ren was probably my favourite character out of the whole thing. I think he's absolutely genius. Obviously everyone's going to compare him to Darth Vader, but he's not Darth Vader. He's like an unhinged. Well, he's the grandson of Darth Vader. He's unhinged and he's like unpredictable. Really, really like a lot of conflict in him, but in a way where it's like he gets tempted by the light side of the Force rather than the opposite way where we're all used to it, like, you know, Jedi's being tempted by the dark side. This is kind of, he's fighting within himself. He's fighting against the light, but he feels moments of light. There's a scene where he's talking to Darth Vader's helmet and he's saying, "Please forgive me, I felt it again, the light side of the Force. Show me, grandfather, show me the ways of the dark side," and all this blah blah blah. And he's obsessed with Vader and he really wants to be like him, but he's afraid that he's not going to be as powerful as Vader. You don't know why he's turned to the dark side. All you know is that he's like, I think he's Luke Skywalker's first apprentice, because Luke was like opening up a new Jedi Academy and training a lot of Jedi, and Kylo Ren turned evil. And I think that's what the Knights of Ren are. They're like Kylo Ren's. You don't see them. You see them in a flashback in this movie, but you're probably going to see a little bit more of them in the future movies. But they're like his kind of like following. Whether they're like the rest of the students that followed Kylo Ren, and that's why maybe Luke Skywalker's gone into hiding, because the first line in the text scroll is Luke Skywalker's vanished, so he's been missing for like 30 years. But I enjoyed it. I thought it was a great movie. I've seen it twice. I can't wait to see it again. There are a few things that I didn't like. One of the big things that I didn't like was it was so. This is either a good thing or a bad thing, but in a way it's kind of a bad thing, to me anyway, because it was there's a lot of episode 4 in there, there's a lot of A New Hope in there, there's a lot of you know, there is parts of like Empire Strikes Back in there, there's little parts of Return of the Jedi in there. It's like, you know, at the start of the movie, Poe Dameron, who's like the best pilot in the Resistance, which is like the rebellion now. That's another thing as well, like the Resistance. The Rebellion's called the Resistance now, and the Empire's called the First Order. But the Resistance is backed by the Republic. So it's kind of frustrating to know that after Return of the Jedi, nothing's really changed. There's still an Empire. What's New Order now? The New Order. The First Order. and then there's the Resistance, and Princess Leia's like, she's the captain of the Resistance. But yeah, at the start of the movie, you got Poe Dameron, who gets given this like chip, and he puts it into his droid, and it's the plans. It's not the plans to the Death Star, but that's what it sounds like. But it's the basically it's the location of Luke Skywalker. It's like part of a map. And I was like, oh, we've done this before in A New Hope. And then there's like the second Death Star, not the second Death Star. It's called like Star Killer, and it's like 10 times bigger. It's like a planet with it fires. It's like the Death Star basically. It's like 10 times big, and like it just like it destroys 5 planets. Like, you know, not like one like the Death Star did and destroyed Alderaan. This one destroys 5 planets just to show everyone that it's like better than the excuse me, bigger and better than the Death Star and stuff. But it still gets taken out so easily. But even then, it was like, you know, we've got a Death Star now. That now there's like an I am your son instead of I'm your father kind of thing, like, you know, Han Solo being Kylo Ren's father, but it was like, it was revealed in an opposite way, like, you know, that kind of thing. So that was kind of like Empire Strikes Back. And then you've got like the way that they need to take out this new Death Star is like they've got to go onto the planet and take out a shield generator. So Han and Chewie are taking out this shield generator, so that lets people that are flying around in the X-Wings take out the planet Starkiller, which is like the Death Star. And it's like, we've done this again, we've done this in A New Hope, and it's just like, that's the thing that it kind of frustrated me, because yes, it's like nice to revisit, but them 3 original trilogies are going to stand on their own forever. We don't need to revisit them. We don't need to revisit the storylines. We don't need to copy the storylines. You know, I was kind of hoping J.J. Abrams would like totally make an independent Star Wars movie, not just copy like copy bits from like A New Hope, Empire Strikes Back, and Return of the Jedi. So I was a little bit disappointed in that, but still think it's a really good film. It's definitely one of my favourites now. I think it's like definitely up there. I didn't like the fact that Rey, she's like, for the whole movie pretty much, she's like, you don't have any belief that, like, you don't even get any clues that she's like force sensitive or anything. And then we're on this planet and we're in like a cantina, and she hears this voice, and she goes down these stairs into this room and opens up this chest, and it's like Anakin Skywalker's lightsaber, also that was passed on down to Luke. And it's like, first of all, I was like, well, how the hell has that ended up here? Because last time we've seen this lightsaber, it was in Luke Skywalker's hand, which got chopped off. And then the woman, she was like, oh, then the Rey touches this like lightsaber, and she gets this flashback, and it's like a flashback of her screaming up as a kid, screaming up to the ship saying, "Don't go!" Like she's been left on Jakku, and it's like, who's left her here? And then you see like the Knights of Ren, and you see Luke Skywalker and stuff, and then she's like, I don't want anything to do with this, and like the woman says, oh, you know, you just got to let the Force in and stuff like that. And even Han Solo says, where did you get that lightsaber? And she's like, oh, it's a really good question, but one for another time. And I was just like, well, they better answer that, because that's pretty big. I mean, you know, that lightsaber didn't just magically appear. And this is me nitpicking, you know, but the whole Harrison Ford, Han Solo getting killed off death scene, I didn't mind it. I didn't like the aftermath. I thought, because he's such an iconic character, I thought he could have had a bit more of people being sad after that happened. But all we got was pretty much, you know, even Chewbacca's reaction, and that's like his best friend. And Chewbacca kind of screams in the air, and then starts shooting people, and then shoots Kylo Ren, and actually shoots him and injures him, so he's bleeding for the last fight, and he's like not 100%. And then you see the Princess Leia, she kind of feels the Force, and she knows that Han Solo's died. And then afterwards you see Chewie sat down on like in the Millennium Falcon, like really upset. And then all of a sudden R2-D2 wakes up, and it's like, well, that was short-lived, you know. I think he should have deserved a little bit more people grieving over him, to be fair. But there's still another 2 movies, I suppose. Supreme Leader Snook, who is you find out that he's the one who turned, and you find out Kylo Ren's name was Ben Solo. He turned Ben Solo to the dark side. I think Andy Serkis did a good job with the voice, but for a film that's trying to be like the originals, and like they're using a lot of animatronics and a lot of puppetry and stuff, I think Supreme Leader Snook could have been. I don't think he should have been a CGI character. I think he should have been, you know, maybe Andy Serkis in some sort of makeup. I think that would have been a bit better. Because you see him in this like, it's a hologram. You find, well, you don't know until the end. It's a hologram, but he's just sat there and he's absolutely huge. And I was like, fucking hell, he's absolutely massive. And then you find out it's a hologram, so he's probably a little bit smaller in real life. But like I say, the Han Solo death, I didn't believe that Han Solo was Kylo Ren's dad. They didn't really get that across to me, apart from saying it. He sees him once before, and he's carrying Rey onto a ship, and he doesn't say anything. He just kind of looks a bit sad because he's know that he's let him down, and he's like not he's gone to the dark side and everything. But then he goes on to this, when he sees him again, he confronts him and he shouts Ben, and he's on this like walkway, and below him is like this energy, like a pit of energy that's just like, obviously something to do with like a core or something. And they have this little confrontation discussion. He's like, take off that helmet, you don't need it. And he's like, well, what do you think you'll see? And he says, my son. And then Kylo, and he walks up to Kylo and says, you know, just come home, me and your mother miss you. And then he actually I thought for a second that Kylo Ren was actually going to come home with him, because he starts sort of crying and getting teared up, and he's like, I'm so torn up inside, I just want this pain to end, will you help me? And Han Solo's like, yes, anything you need. And then he like hands over his lightsaber, and the way the thing was shot, there's like the sun's coming through and shining onto Kylo Ren's face, and then but there's like also like darkness around him as well. And then when he's holding the lightsaber and Han Solo's grabbed the lightsaber as well, the sun starts to go out, and then the black just goes over Kylo Ren's face, and you just know that he's turned to the dark side fully now. And he kills Han Solo, and then he says thank you. And I think that's him deciding, you know, I think maybe proving to himself that he's turning to the dark side or whatever. But I enjoyed it. I thought it was good. It was a good movie. I'd go and see it again. Really recommend a lot of people seeing it. There's a lot of people saying the same things though, that it's a rehash. Seems to be, they borrow a lot. They do borrow a lot from the original trilogies, and I think that is kind of a little bit shitty. Because we've done the trilogies, do you know what I mean? We've done all that. But it's a great movie, great watch, great characters. The fact that there's not a lot of CGI in it is fantastic. You can actually see, you know, BB-8, the way that, you know, works. I don't know how it works, gyro technology or something. It's fantastic. Really nice to see a lot of the returning cast. The way, there's a scene where Rey, she kind of, after she touches the lightsaber, she starts to get a bit more force sensitive, and she's like, Kylo Ren captures her, and she's in this like restraint, and she just all of a sudden just suddenly learns the Jedi mind trick. She like turns around to the stormtrooper and says, you'll take off these restraints and leave the door open. And the stormtrooper's like, what did you say? And she says it again, and then he walks up to her and says, how about I tighten these restraints, scavenger scum? And then she says it again, and then he just says, how about I undo your restraints and leave the door open? And he does that and starts walking off, and then she says, oh, and leave your weapon. And he goes, and I'll leave my weapon. And I was kind of like, you've had no training. Well, I think she maybe has had training. There's a lot of speculation about people saying that she's Luke Skywalker's daughter, but you don't see any evidence of that in the movie. I don't think that is the case. I would like it to be I'd like it to be Kylo Ren's sister. That'd be cool. And then yeah, you see, but then there's a whole flashback, like who left her there? You know, did Luke leave her there and wipe her memory or something? But it's like she's like, after she's touched this lightsaber, she's kind of learning powers, but she's had no training. Finn's a good character as well. He kind of I might have to do this video in a two-parter actually, so I'll cut this one short and I'll start a new one right now. So stay tuned for the second part, guys. Thanks for watching.